So we go into our hotel, and outside the hotel there's this enormous generator. I mean, it's like this tall, about 12 feet long, and it's just spitting out this black smoke. It looked like something out of it looked like the Once-ler made it, you know, from the Lorax, you know, when they cut down all the cheese like this. Black smoke, spitting out oil everywhere. I'm thinking, what the fuck is this generator doing out here in the street? Well, it turns out none of the buildings in Iraq have stable electricity. So sometimes the electricity may come on for an hour or two during the day, but most days, for most people, they don't have any electricity at all. So everyone has to run a generator out in the street. Go into the hotel, and we are told don't drink the water on the tap, because the water in Baghdad can't be drunk by anybody. And so Iraqi people have to go and buy bottled water or use things that boil the water or filters or whatever to drink the water. And there's about 90% unemployment in Baghdad, which is a city of 4.5 million people. And everyone is legally allowed to have a gun. So you have no water, no electricity, no jobs, and everyone has a gun. Perfect recipe, isn't it? So we're told you have to be very careful, because anywhere on the street at any time, a crowd of people could become hostile towards you, or you don't know what's going to happen. Somebody could start firing amongst each other, and you could be in the crossfire. Or army could come through, U.S. forces could come through at any time, and somebody could take a shot at them, and the U.S. forces will open fire on everyone on the street. And so we went there, and the first day they asked us, you know, what do you want to do? Who do you want to go see? What do you want to do? What do you want to make your film about? Who do you want to talk to? I said, you know, really what I want to do is just go out on the street and play my guitar somewhere and see if we can talk to some people. And they're like, this is not possible. You can't play your guitar on the street. This is just not possible. No, do this. What I want to do, that's why I came here. After about an hour of discussion and a long table, we finally convinced them that that's all we were there to do. They were used to journalists saying, I want to go to Fallujah, I want to get in a firefight, I want to take pictures that are going to get me on the front of all these things. And so they said, well, we don't know any neighborhood that's safe except for our neighborhood where we live personally. So our drivers took us to their neighborhood. We went to this great little restaurant, and we had the most beautiful vegetarian meal, and beautiful food, beautiful beans, beautiful salad, all this amazing food. And then afterward we sang. And then the restaurant started rocking. So many people started rocking in the restaurant that pretty soon the street began to get crowded. The doorway was crowded with all these people. And you know, our guides were starting to get nervous. They're like, maybe we should get out of here and go out on the street. So we walk out into the street, and we say, we want to go to somebody's house, and see if there's any people around. So sure enough, some people just invite us, come on into our house. And they say, take us into their house. And they said, this building was built by Jewish people, a Jewish man from Australia who built this building. And they built a lot of buildings around this neighborhood. And then in 1948 he left, and the neighborhood became a Muslim neighborhood. And so we walk into this house, and we get invited up by this little man through this courtyard and upstairs into his home. And what do we see on the wall? But about 50 posters of Day-Glow Jesus. Rotating Jesus with lights on it, Day-Glow Jesus, velvet Jesus, plastic Jesus, every kind of Jesus. And it was great. And so he invited us in to come sit down, and we talked. And he told us about his time. I asked him, what was it like when the bombing began? And he told me about his family, his children, his sons and his daughters, his wife, who were there. And the fact that when the bombing began, they didn't know what to do. He didn't have any idea what to say to his children. So what they did was they prayed. And they got down on their hands and knees together, and for weeks and weeks they did nothing but pray. And there was one point where a bridge was blown up about 5 or 6 blocks away, and debris from the bridge came and landed on the roof of their house. And they heard this banging on the roof of debris coming in, big pieces of concrete this big that flew 5 blocks. So they decided to go into the basement. And they took me into the basement of their building. It was so dark in there, you couldn't see 6 inches in front of your face. And when I was going down there, they warned me that there was these spiders that had a lethal bite, and to be careful about going down there in the dark. And I went down there, and there's nothing down there. There's no toilet, no nothing, no food, no light. There's a little shaft for air. And they said that they spent most of that week listening to the bombing going off, and only coming out, one person going out to get some supplies, some water, some food during that week. And so then we moved on, and later that day we met some U.S. soldiers, and they were in full uniform. They have to wear full body armor, Kevlar body suits, Kevlar helmets that weigh 8 pounds. The Kevlar is very lightweight material, but it can stop an M16 bullet, from about 50 feet away. And so they have to wear them, but in order to give the soldiers confidence in their helmet, they add 8 pounds of steel to the helmet, so that it feels like it's something strong. So these guys are out there with 8 pounds of steel on their head, 35-pound vest, a rifle that weighs probably 20 pounds, full pants, long underwear. Most of them wear knee pads because they do a lot of getting on their knees, and boots, and it's 120 degrees. And they're just worried because there's so many people in Baghdad that have guns. There's 170,000 U.S. troops in Iraq and 4.5 million people in Baghdad alone. They have 60,000 U.S. troops in Baghdad, and there's one compound where Saddam used to live, his palace. It's called the Green Zone, and that Green Zone is where all the central command is for all of the army for the whole country. And then there's about 30 or 40 other little small buildings that they've taken over to control the rest of Baghdad. And Baghdad's about the size of the city of Los Angeles. And so the soldiers there feel completely like they're on their heels. And they feel like they're surrounded by people with weapons, and they feel like they have they're forced to fight in a war that's really a losing battle, because the initial attack, the airstrikes, and the taking out of Saddam was something that they could do with great military force. Now, what they're faced with is trying to win over the hearts and minds of Iraqi people, and they're trying to do it with M16s, and they're doing it with people who have no water and no electricity, and are very grateful that Saddam is gone, but they're also tired of living in the way they're living, and they're tired of being shot at by U.S. soldiers. And so I sang a song for them out on the just out where they were standing. This is the first song I sang.